What was the core driving force for the terrorist attack in Washington, D.C., and other incidents like it? Take a look at this clip over here with Victor Davis Hanson analyzing what's going on in our country. So let's watch it together and then talk about it. But first, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Check this out.
Hello, this is Victor Davis Hanson for the Daily Signal. Recently, two Israeli diplomatic employees in Washington, Yaron Leshinsky and Sarah Milgram, were shot. Apparently, the killer, Elias Rodriguez, emptied his handgun and fired off 21 rounds, killed them almost instantly, and then ran into the museum where they were working and started to act as if he was a victim until he shouted out, "Free Palestine." And what are we to make of this? I think what we're seeing throughout the United States right now is a lowering of the bar of what's acceptable in terms of violence. We saw that Luigi Mangione became a cult hero to the left because he, in a premeditated fashion, killed a United Health corporation executive, shot him down in cold blood, and on the specious excuse that they were overcharging people. But he became a hero. And we saw that Abrego Garcia, who beat his spouse, threatened to kill her, apparently. She thought he was going to kill her, and was an illegal alien and had at one time deportation orders, and was a member pretty clearly of an M13 gang, and was engaged in human trafficking and was deported, became a cult hero to the left. And we had an incident in Texas where a young teenager stabbed another one, and then he became a victim. No need to go into the details. We had the two assassination attempts, and I think you could, if you collated the social media content of those two killers, it was pretty much to the left, kind of reminiscent of the shooter of Congressman Steve Scalia and the wounding of others, who was a Bernie Sanders. What am I getting at? There has been a general lowering of the bar, as I said, of what's acceptable violence, and we saw that with the Tesla excuses and contextualization when somebody ran somebody off the road or destroyed a charging station or firebombed a station. Even the media reports of the tragic deaths. I was reading today an NPR account, and after about 6 paragraphs, they get uneasy describing the murder, and they just have to put something in, and they do. And they say, and this wasn't during a period of tensions because of the people getting killed in Gaza. In other words, just a little bit, how can we get in there to justify this in some ways or contextualize it? So that is one thing that's happening, and that makes violence more permissible. The other is this endemic anti-Semitism. Let's be honest, it's not some cowboy in Wyoming in 1950 that doesn't like Jews. We're talking about two nexuses that come together and promulgate anti-Semitism. The one is wealthy people in the universities, many of them DEI, but not all, who feel that it's either in vogue or as DEI people they cannot be criticized as victims for victimizing others, meeting foreign students from the Middle East. And in that cauldron, it becomes permissible to say globalize the Intifada, river to the sea, the eliminationist rhetoric about Israel, storm a library, chase Jews into a library, damage a president's office, rough up a Jewish kid on campus. It was all acceptable. There were no consequences. That's why those 3 college presidents either were fired or had to resign. So what we're seeing is that the unhinged come out of the woodwork because the general climate rewards that type of behavior. So Mr. Rodriguez thought, A, if I use violence, in this case, bring a gun into Washington, D.C. from my home in Chicago, and I have good, firm left-wing credentials. His father was asked to be a guest at the Trump speaker by a left-wing Congressman Garcia from Illinois. So he comes in, and he knows that if he shoots and murders someone, there's going to be a lot of people who will praise him, or at least excuse what he did, number one. And number two, he's killing Jews. So he knows on campus that one of the Harvard Review people roughed up a Jew and was given $65,000 honorarium scholarship from Harvard's one of the groups that sponsors Harvard Law School. Bottom line, this is going to continue until somebody says we're not going to put up with it anymore. You're not going to be a foreign student and come over to the United States on a student visa and spout hateful rhetoric and torment Jews and make it uncomfortable. And you're not going to be one of these elite students who crashes into the president's office at Stanford or crashes into a building at Columbia and thinks there's no consequences. And that's why Donald Trump is trying to shock treatment to the universities to say, you don't know what you're doing. You're a global embarrassment, that you permitted and you have fueled anti-Semitism, and the left atmosphere anyway is to condone violence when it's used for revolutionary purposes. Add it all up, and we get 2 wonderful people murdered in D.C. Thank you very much.
It is sad, but it's not entirely surprising that there are a lot of people on the far left that are so anti-Jewish, couching their anti-Jewishness in anti-Israel and anti-Bibi Netanyahu and anti-IDF and whatever it is. But really, this has an extension to Jews worldwide. After all, what do random Jewish people in America or across the world have to do with the situation of what's going on in Israel? There's a link that is inherently made by these people tying in all Jews worldwide, whether they'll admit it or not. And the reason that Israel has such a focus in their mind is because, again, the far left ideology, the Marxist view of the world, is to see the world as one of 2 people. You're either an oppressor or you are oppressed. And those that are successful, that financially successful or successful in any other way, they got that way because they were oppressors in that mentality. And those that are unsuccessful in whatever way we want to discuss, it's because they were oppressed. Doesn't matter what their personal decisions were or whatnot, they are oppressed. They only weren't successful because they were oppressed by somebody. Israel is successful, therefore Israel is deemed an oppressor. The Palestinians, the Hamas, the Arab world is seen as unsuccessful, therefore they are seen as oppressed. And so the extreme left in the United States and across the world, they are cheering the underdog. They look at themselves as a conglomerate of oppressed groups, and they project that their sympathies towards those that other groups that they see as oppressed as well. So that's why you have contradictory things like Queers for Palestine. And if you were queer in Palestine or in the extremist Arab world, then you would not live to see the light of day. However, they can side with each other, the reason being because if the LGBTQ community perceives themselves as victims in the United States, they have solidarity with victims elsewhere. The question is, when are we going to stand up as a country and say, we're not going to tolerate this? We're not going to tolerate this sort of rhetoric. We're not going to tolerate this sort of behavior on college campuses and across the world. And something's got to give over here. The more we normalize it and we look the other way, we just say, well, another incident, it's obviously connected with what's going on in Israel, turn the other way. This stuff is only going to continue, as Victor Davis Hanson correctly points out. If you like this content overall, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Take care.